And with that, I'm so excited to, introduce Shelley and Christy. So Shelley and Christy are two parents who took the lead in revitalizing their school's garden. And that school garden is now a thriving and fully integrated part of the school experience there. And I'm really excited for them to present today because I think that their story of starting a school garden resonates with a lot of people. I think that so many people who come to us are on a similar journey of wanting to start a school garden program. And so I'm so glad that they're here to present because I know that they have a lot of like insight and experience and perspective to offer. And so thank you both so much for being here and presenting. So pass it to y'all.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Russell. We were really honored that they reached out to be a part of this. Full disclosure, Christy and I are super nervous about presenting to all of you because for us, it was like, do people really want to hear our story?
Yeah.
And we just love sharing that. And our background's kind of a little different. And for the people that just joined, if you can share where you're sharing from and also your favorite vegetable to plant in the chat, we'd love to see where everyone here is from. But if Russell, if you could go to the next slide for us. So this is a picture of Christy and I, and these are our kids. Christy and I both have two children. We both have older daughters and little boys. And one of the things we wanted to start this presentation with is kind of the why. Why we're here starting a school garden, and we want you to share why you're here and want to start a school garden. Back in my old tech job, we read a book by Simon Sinek, and it's called Start With Why. And I don't know if any of you have read it. If you don't want to read it, there's a great TED Talk on it that will give you the cliff notes. But everyone knows like the how and the what of starting something. And to differentiate yourself or kind of remember why you're doing it, you'd go to the why. And everyone's why is a little bit different. Part of my why is my own children and starting a school garden and to see my kids be able to flourish and learn about things like growing their own produce and
what it takes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like that it's not just an artichoke at the grocery store we were just talking about. Always kind of roots me back to why we do this. And even Christy, so Christy, share your why too.
Yeah, I just we live, I know not everyone here lives in California, but we live in California. We produce a lot of, produce, and I wanted to, I think that it's really important living here and see what the farmers do, and what goes into it, how much water goes into it, and then having kids taste things as they are and exposing them to things. Like we did a pop-up during lunch and we did tomatillo salsa, and some of the kids thought they were green apples.
They were trying to bite into them. Like, don't
yeah, we're like, don't, that's a, I mean, some kids will never have exposure to this, and that is that to me is super rewarding.
And all of you here are here for the purpose of either you have a school garden and you're actively maintaining it, you're either starting it, or maybe you're looking to pass it on. We're all kind of in different areas. I even know that some of you are in really cold climates. I see Michigan and former Chicago where maybe school gardens aren't active right now. We all have reasons of doing it. So we kind of always focus on getting back to that when this will be our 4th year of the school garden here. It is at our children's school, by the way. So we should clarify that as well.
Convenient, yeah.
But this is our 4th year. So it kind of roots us into why we're doing it. When it gets hot, when it gets hard, it gives us that focus. So can you give us the next slide, Russell? And that's us. That's Christy and I. And we're going to start from the beginning of our story and really get into the nitty-gritty details of how we started this school garden. And we're going to touch on all these bullet points here throughout this presentation. Russell mentioned, please, if you have questions, put them in the chat, raise your hand and ask. We're not going to gatekeep here. We want to give you all the information and everything you need to be successful, no matter what you're looking to get out of it. But if you want to click through to the next one, but next slide, this is our story. And yeah. Christy, do you want to talk about she's kind of the founder, you guys. She's the true Alice Waters of our partnership here. So,
oh, thank you. I take that as a compliment. So I started this. This is in the front of our kids' school. If you see this picture, this is actually before I cleaned it up. I spent every weekend there in August, and I don't know if you know the weather. It gets like 110 here in the month of August usually. So my kids, I drug them out there to clean this up because this was the first thing you saw when you drove in, and it was just sad, a sad garden.
Actually, people probably look at this and it looks green. Don't let that deter you from how sad it was.
Yes. And the weeds are were a lot higher than this picture right here. This was a nice picture.
It was in bad shape.
It was in bad shape. And, it just needed love. And I will say, just kind of speeding forward a little bit, it is so cool to pull into the parking lot now and see kids out there laughing and enjoying this garden and pulling out. We just have a bunch of broccoli growing, broccolini, pulling that out, and just to see them and hear them laugh. But anyway, that's how it got started. Is I saw the garden abandoned in the front of the school, and I popped in and asked who's in charge, and they asked if I wanted to be, and then it went on from there. And I'm a dental hygienist by trade. I do not do computer stuff. I type in charts. That's it. So then I had to develop lessons and all this, everything that goes along. Okay.
I want to say too that Christy took this on, and she started this about 6 months before I walked by this fence. And it was just starting the trend of, those cattle panels. Have you guys seen they're called cattle panels, but they're like $36, and you can turn them into a trellis, and they are metal. I'll try to bring up a picture here.
Get them for your garden.
I had just seen it online. I was probably Instagram influenced, but I leaned over the fence and I saw this lady working in the garden. I said, you should really add those panels to the garden. And she looked at me and she said, I think you should do that.
That was when I was in my burning, where I was at my couldn't sleep point because it was a lot of work.
And let me sidetrack too. Our daughters were in fourth grade or fifth grade?
Fourth grade, I think.
Just going into fifth grade. We had never met each other, you guys. Our daughters had been going through school together it'll have been 5 years at that time. We had never known each other. And
we live around the corner from each other. I could walk to her house.
I'm going to give you the cheat code right now. We've turned into best friends. So from that moment on, when I said, you should really add those, and she said, I think you should, is when things started to pick up for us in the garden. I think I came at a time to help.
Yeah.
That's
right, when I was burnt out.
And so first tip, at the end, we're going to kind of sum up our lessons learned, but find a partner, find a friend, find support, find just a somebody. It doesn't have to turn into a best friend. It couldn't, but have someone that can help you and that you can lean on, because it is a hard job.
Yeah.
It can be a lot of work. As rewarding as it is, it can be hard. So try to find that partner. But okay, next slide, Russell. You've all seen the beginning. Remember this, burn that into your head. And then a sense of community. So we have when Christy and I took this on, I don't think we realized the sense of community that it would create.
Yeah, we did.
I wish I was with all of you in person so we could sit and chat about this. This brings me back to COVID days. I want to all be in a room and all have this conversation, because I'd love to know where you guys all are in your
garden journey.
Yeah, in your journey of school garden. But we didn't realize that it would create a sense of community. And we had people that would pop over the fence and would come say hi. All of a sudden, as we started cleaning and planting, people started coming. And I think we're all of the generation, you say it best. If you build it,
they will come. And everyone wants to be a part of the shiny new toy. That's kind of what we found. We would go on Saturday mornings and go and clean up, just to kind of get some space from our families. And we'd go out there. Gardening is also great for your mental health. And we'd go out there and people would pop by. Here's $100 cash, buy some soil. And like she said, the sense of community, people would say, I've lived in this neighborhood for 30 years and I've never seen anything like this. And then they started coming out to our events that we would host.
Yeah.
Which was really cool.
And so many of these bullet points, and I'll stop after this one for any questions, but they kind of tie into each other. So it's hard to take one bullet point to the next. But as we kept building and planting, and we realized we needed more, to invite people to help, or these pictures here, the left-hand side, is we've actually started incorporating, Christy and I would do pop-ups. So one of the slides that we'll talk about is incorporating, how do we harvest? What do we do with the harvest? Like Christy's why is kids trying food in their truest form, talking about the tomatillos. This is actually a sushi chef from our, say that 3 times fast, everyone, from our community, who we invited because we realized that kids may not realize that the cucumbers that we grow can be part of sushi, that the jalapenos that we grow can be part of that. So here we have a local chef that's preparing, don't report us because they did bring a lot of raw fish to the event, but he incorporated our scallions, our jalapenos, and our cucumbers in sushi that they prepared. And the guy's like, oh, the kids won't eat jalapenos. Yes, they will. If you tell them what it is and they're aware, they do. Creating a community for kids to come with our fresh cut flowers. And then we also, if you have a garden out there, we had a lemonade stand built. Every time we have an event, we host some kind of like a lemonade that people know when we come, there's going to be something there. And we have a mom that makes flavored syrups with our lavender and our berries. Super amazing. So just some ideas of creating a community for people to come and be part of the garden with you. So next slide, Russell. And as he's switching slides, do you guys have any questions on the sense of community or anything that you've done? Because we steal ideas from everybody. Edible Schoolyard was one of our main stealers of stuff, but don't be shy, please. Okay, next slide, Russell, and we'll see if anyone says anything. Oh, is it clicking? Okay.
This is a cool photo. So this is our superintendent on the far right, principal. And we'll give you I'll have Shelley give you the backstory on Jim, which is our facilities director at our school. And then we became, really good, close with the Green Acres, which is, I don't know if you know of this nursery, but they're a local nursery and they are so generous in donating stuff to us and just being a great resource. And that's a local chef on the far end who made ratatouille with the vegetables from our garden for our students. That was another pop-up we had. This was at our orchard cutting.
Yes.
So we actually fundraised to get a new fence and then to put 17 orchard trees in. So different types of fruit trees and 4 cutting beds.
Yeah. So we've expanded our garden from what you saw, those beds in that area. We couldn't control ourselves. We're quite impulsive sometimes. And outside of, we have in our garden, I think we have 8 or 10 4x20 wooden, I'm drawing a blank on beds that are for all of our produce. And then we wanted to expand to include 4 beds that we do fresh cut flowers. And then we have a 17 tree orchard. It was supposed to be 12. We couldn't help ourselves and it became 17. But it gives the full gamut of the experience for the students, but we couldn't do it just ourselves. And like Christy said on this picture, we're part of a school. I don't know if everyone here is part of a school or a community, but having the buy-in of local stores, like she mentioned, local nurseries, our principal and our superintendents are very supportive in what we do. And that's hugely important for us because we wouldn't be able to expand or grow things without their support. But we'll also touch on Jim. He's the one guy in the plaid shirt there who is our head of facilities custodian. And he he kind of jumped in and became our kind of right-hand guy. Mm-hmm. And he's taken on our full composting. Actually, you could go to the next slide because I think that is him. No, it's Chromium. Okay, we'll go in a little bit. Okay, let's touch on him after then.
Okay.
Sorry, I
remember what he looks like.
Remember Jim and our thing. But we had someone love the idea of a stand in the community. It's little things that are like continuous that people can expect and come to. One of Christy and my bullet points of things that we want to share with the garden is expanding children's palettes.
Yes.
And that's kind of Christy's why, is giving kids the ability to try things as they are, but also to expand what those are. And offering things like
celery juice. We did green smoothies for our jogathon. They usually offer popsicles, and they're like, oh, they expect popsicles. They want popsicles. I'm like, well, let's not give them the option. I would say every single kid drank the celery juice of the green smoothie, and all the greens were from our garden.
Yeah.
And then parents were reaching out to us asking for recipes. And my kids don't eat greens. We're like, yes, they do when you're not around.
Just like the sushi when you weren't around.
Yes, totally. Oh, the line for the sushi was incredible. I was so proud of, in that moment, I was so proud of these kids. It was amazing.
In our beginning days, we used to put on aprons. So we had red aprons, and we'd put a table out at lunch, and we would put a tablecloth out, and when we would harvest something, we would make something for the kids to try. It was either cilantro rice, tomatillo salsa,
nut-free pesto and naan.
Nut-free pesto. And we had one of those plug-in griddles, and we would warm the naan. I mean, how nice are we? We would warm the naan and put the nut-free pesto on. But just to give you ideas of ways for kids to expand their palate and try things, and how fun that they grew it. They grew it themselves.
They would say, "You guys, this is like Costco with the free samples." That's funny.
Christy and I was inspired to that. Okay, next slide, Russell.
So can I actually myself ask a question?
Yeah.
On while we're on this topic of building buy-in and building a team, because I think this is like a very this is something we always recommend as well to folks starting off. And could you share about like what were those initial conversations like with school admin or the principal or the superintendent? And what was that like to, maybe propose the idea and see it kind of start to gain traction with them? Or was it a process of like just
of course
acting first and apologizing later,
Yes.
Just like what can you take us in a little bit about what was that like to build buy-in with with sort of decision makers, admin team and that.
Yeah, that's a great, because you just said great question. And all of that, yes. I talk about a lot the value. If you create something and you're asking for people's time and you're having kids come out here and spend their time, it has to bring value. And we're asking teachers, so we have 15 classes at our elementary school in grades TK through 5. We should have clarified at the beginning. So it's TK through 5. We have 15 classes. And all of our classes participate in the garden.
Well, that's new this year. We had a year where some of them, like the buy-in, the value, they didn't see the value, and then now it's become like a shiny new toy. If you build it, they will come. And
going back to Stephen's question, we're going to touch on that too, because I think it really all ties together. But we would have meetings with the superintendent and the principal, and anything that we like it goes both ways. They trusted us to do our job, but also we were professional in a way that we would sometimes like create a PowerPoint presentation of things that we wanted to do so that they knew we were serious. So like we wanted to expand our garden and we needed a new fence. You'll know, like if we were to go back to that first slide, we had about a 4-foot tall chain link fence that went around the garden. You can see back then. So it went from that, which we have deer, by the way. If anyone has animals or deer, you know what they do to a garden. It's horrific.
So if you see this fence, Shelley and I removed this on a Sunday morning ourselves to save money.
Yeah. So one of the things we did is we wanted to expand that and get a different fence. So we put together a PowerPoint presentation to show them, Russell, like this is what we want to do. And those were all kind of parts of the conversation, and they are always ongoing. But it's built a relationship of trust and camaraderie in knowing that what we do, we're going to do. And
they've seen the progress of, how much passion we have and that we maintain, and we don't really hit them up for money either. We come up with ways, like how we're going to fundraise, how's this going to work? How are we going to build this?
So the initial was, can we take it on? And it was so horrific that they're like, it can't get worse. So maybe just make your gardens look horrible and it can't be worse, and then go from there. I mean, so it became a very collaborative relationship, and it's so much so that there are 6 other schools in our district. It feels weird to be tooting our own horn a little bit, but we've helped the other gardens. We've helped the other schools expand their gardens. So it's proved to be a really neat working relationship. I wish I could pinpoint a time when we like.
No, I just they trust us. That's
Yeah.
what you said. They trust us. And my son's in 5th grade. This is his last year, and I probably will step back and and help out with what I can. But I will. But
She's lying.
Everything we have all these systems in place, and Shelley.
We'll touch on that.
And we have other parents that are helping. So I mean, it's the value in the buy-in. They see it.
Thanks.
Was that answer your question, Russell?
Yeah, no, thanks so much. That's super helpful. Thank you.
But I think also, I mean, just making it like stripping it down to the basics of introduce yourself. Make an appointment to meet with their principal or superintendent and just say, hey, can I have 5 minutes of your time? I just want to share with you what my ideas are and, let them know that you're doing it and just be like, hey, this is what I want to do. And it's a hard thing for them to say no on.
So the biggest pushbacks from admin, I would say in those meetings is that they're afraid because they don't want to have this big garden and then we leave or go off and then they're stuck with it. That is the biggest pushback.
Which is anyone here in this group that has been a part of a garden knows that, like, okay, Christy just said her son's in 5th grade and she's going to leave by the skin of her teeth because I'll drag her to help back. But that's the problem. And then it looks like this again. Yes. And then another parent comes in and says, I want to take it on. And then they stop. It's just, this in itself is a cyclical pattern in school gardens, which we would love if we can collaborate on a way to make this not happen in the big picture. I would love to have.
Yeah, I agree.
I'd love to solve that problem. If we could all put our minds together and solve the problem of cyclical school gardens, I think, edible schoolyards, a huge part of that, but I digress.
Okay.
But those are the biggest pushbacks and money.
Yeah.
Funding. But did that answer your question, Ellie? Like I said, it's a hard one to say no to. Hopefully she'll give a thumbs up. Come back, Ellie, if you have another question on that. Oh, okay. Perfect. Okay, next slide, because this is going to answer Steven's question. Oh, wait, next one. There you go. Okay.
So
this is a big one.
Yeah. So when we first took on this, took on this garden, they had curriculum, but it was very dated.
Like 1975.
Yes. Like very dated and just very full, a lot of science in it. And I know gardening is full of science, but I feel like I had to make it to pre-K to 5th grade level. And that's where I found the Edible Schoolyard. Somebody told me, go on their website and you can download, they have lessons on there. I don't know if you guys know that. But I got some of those lessons and kind of created, made them my own. A funny story, I did do an aloe vera lesson and I left it and it had like 36 reasons of why people use aloe vera. And some of them, I guess, were very inappropriate. And a mom had turned me into the office. Not Edible Schoolyard. A mom had turned me into the office and I'm like, I'm a dental hygienist trying to create a school garden and some curriculum because what I'm finding is kind of outdated or, I couldn't shape it to what I wanted it. So I had some inappropriate aloe uses going on and
she wasn't fired.
I quickly learned and that's when I needed to get Shelley on board to help.
So Stephen, that was a huge part of it because what we found was either really antiquated or not, like stamping apples or painting rocks, which are amazing things to do in the garden as a secondary or an art project. We do art in the garden, which is an after school thing where kids can come, but it's not teaching. And so we did like 3 different things that we'll touch on. One of them, Edible Schoolyard. And we're not just because you're here, Russell. If you weren't here, we would say the same thing.
There's stuff on there.
Their website is a great resource. And Russell, if we could share some of that at the end and finding those, that would be fantastic. They're science-based, they're education-based, they're already done lessons, which are super important. One of the things we'll talk again about lessons learned. Don't make it hard for yourself. Don't recreate the wheel. Don't make it more difficult if you don't have to. 2, Christy and I wanted to find resources. So we actually ended up going back to school to be master gardeners. We're not saying everyone has to do this. We did so that we could have that knowledge. I'm a big shopper. And when I go shopping and I'm like buying something from someone, I want them to be an expert on what they're taught. If I'm going to go buy a car, I want that person to be an expert on
what
that car.
Yeah.
And so Christy and I felt the same way. We wanted to be experts on what we were teaching the kids and not phonies. So we went to school and took some of those lessons as well. Third, I lost track of what my third one was. Darn it. Okay, I'll think of my third. I got excited about the other two, but those are huge ones. And so we put those together in lesson plans. And like Christy said, we created them tailored to TK through fifth. I talk about don't make it more difficult for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Do not, well, we can't tell you what to do, but don't make lessons for each grade. We have lessons for everybody, the same lesson. So we just did a lesson in February that was soil testing. We're getting ready to test the soil for our plants for spring. Our lessons are rooted in things that the kids are doing in the garden. So they learn about alkaline, they learn about acidic. Picture. Oh yeah, they're doing it in the picture right there. That's from last year, but they did that this month. These kids right here are in second grade. They are learning about alkaline and acidic, and the fifth graders are doing the same. And we had a teacher tell us, do you want to tell her what the teacher said?
Or a teacher came up to us in the garden. She's like, pre-care is going to take something totally different than a fourth grader, than a fifth grader. And you're just going to build on this every year, and we don't change our lessons year to year. Maybe when we got our fruit trees, we did like a cycle of the apple, right?
Yeah.
And we changed it a little bit, but for the most part, it's pretty much the same. Every grade's doing the same. Every year, they're kind of doing the same thing. And we sprinkle in like after school things, like we did a microgreens class and we did the bee bowls for the bees and we brought in a bee person. But that is where I think that the gardens fail too, because you're taking on too much.
We had a teacher come and sit. Someone came and asked if they could meet with us, you guys. And I kid you not, she said she made a separate lesson for each grade each month. And Chris and I looked at each other and we're like, yeah, we're crazy. Like, that's not even what a teacher does. Like, that is so much work that you don't have to do. And yeah, you can do that if you're capable and want to. We're not telling you can't. Yeah. But lesson learned, make it easier on yourself. You can't really see it here, but I wanted you to see, we made this a poster and this goes up. That's what we'll learn this year. And each year it's pretty much the same thing unless we want to find something that we want to sprinkle in, or if we see something like that we take away from you guys, we're like, that's a great idea. We'll add it,
and every year they're going to have a different docent. Someone else that teaches it is going to say a new fun fact that they don't know.
Megan has a question. Yeah. Can we unmute Megan, Russell?
I see a garden back there.
This is just my green screen. I'm with the Edible Schoolyard Stockton. So this is our beautiful winter rose, all pretty back there. I wanted to know about like the structure of these programs. Like how often are these kids coming to the garden? Who's running these lessons? I think I saw another question in the chat about like how you incorporate docents, or are you guys delivering these lessons? What's the format for the kids?
So going back to the sense of community, and if you build it, they will come. We started off the first year, so we incorporate parent docents. So Stephen's question was the docents, and we have 2 to 3 parents for each class. That's at the beginning of the year. So we should backtrack. At the beginning of the year for back to school night, each of the teachers has a sign-up sheet in their classroom where they ask for a room parent, an art parent, and a garden parent. And so we have parents sign up to be a garden parent. Mm-hmm. That list comes to Christy and I, and we reach out to everyone who's signed up to be garden parent. And you guys, it's like a wait list to be a garden parent now.
Now, yes.
It's like a hot commodity to be part of the garden parent team. And we have them meet with us at the beginning of the year, and we give them a tutorial about everything. But then every month, the kids come out once a month, and they're in the garden. The garden parents are responsible for signing up, and it's usually the same time every month, like the first Wednesday at 1:00 or second Thursday. We keep track of that. We've actually had loose talk of creating like one of those apps, like sports apps that keep everyone on a calendar and people can chat. But they come out once a month. The lesson's there for them. Christy and I usually do a video Christy will send out an email at the beginning of the month
Just
and
reminding the parent. And our big push is please don't cancel. So our lessons we also create during the rainy months so that our biggest thing is we don't want parents to cancel the lesson, because that's what happens. Then they fall off the schedule. So we have rainy day lessons. And then if a parent has to cancel for some reason, we really encourage them to reschedule, or one of us takes over.
Like for people that can't be outside right now for garden, to do like a soil testing would be great, because you can do it in class or somewhere else. So once again, kind of create your lessons based on
where you live
and what works. You could even do like an orchard lesson where you talk about the light. So, I mean, you can tailor it to what you want to do, but they do once a month. You could do more than that. But that's what we do. And our parents are docents. So the teachers, what it looks like in our classes is the teachers usually have the students leave during a rotation. So we split the class up. So the teachers find that it's beneficial if we take like half the class and then the teacher's doing something in the class with them, like reading or math or centers, and then they swap. Does that answer the question? Does anyone need?
That's great. I'm curious of like what you mentioned that you'll like meet with the parents in the beginning if they're docents. I'm curious like a little bit more about like how you train them to deliver these lessons. Like are your lessons pretty written out, or like are they getting more training before?
I wish I had a copy of our lessons.
So a lot of people who do sign up have some sort of interest in gardening. We have found that. But so we give them a book at the beginning that has every single month. And then we also send out an email like at the beginning of the month. So they have this manual essentially, and that has the lesson. And we are so detailed, like it's in the shed to the left or whatever. Like for soil testing, we make sure they have everything laid out. And as far as like, I mean, training.
So Megan, we can send out what they look like. We've made it very detail oriented. So at the beginning of the lesson, it'll say this month we are doing this. There's a list of materials. There's a list. We give a script, even if you need it. Yeah. Like a lot of things will say like, this is what you can share with the class.
We put facts in there about like when we did like planting fruit trees, like why it's, each fruit tree, like what is the health benefits of it. I mean, we put everything in there.
So we have people that aren't gardeners that are able to teach it, never planted. But that's also amazing because we have people like parents that are so excited to be a part of this at the same time that have never been here. But so Megan, we make it very easy. It's like foolproof.
Cool. Good.
I wish I had a picture.
Help. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I'd love to see any of your lessons if maybe Russell could send them out after this.
Yeah. Our contact information will be here at the end. Let's connect. Because we want to make it easy. It's not always easy to get people to volunteer as docents. And sometimes I forget that at the beginning, it's not always easy, and to even not have the buy-in of teachers. So if you are experiencing that, it's normal, but we want to make it as foolproof as possible for parents to walk in here.
For them to want to volunteer if it's this easy. Yeah.
So hopefully that answers that question.
Yeah, thanks so much.
No problem. Thank you for asking. Okay, next slide, Russell. We can come back to curriculum if we want, or talk about more of what we teach. These pictures made me realize I think we should take brighter pictures of what we produce. Harvesting and produce. Actually, before I even met Christy, she hosted a farmer's market. It's kind of the bottom right picture. We need to take a bigger picture, I guess, but it gives you an idea of what we do. So when we have a big harvest, we put out a table. We advertise and say that we're going to be hosting a farmer's market. We'll put out all the kids will harvest, and we'll put out all the produce. It is a
donation base,
100%. Nothing. If you want to donate to the garden, great, but the kids can come and we had a bunch of celery, cucumbers, peppers, and they're able to go down the table and take produce home. And that's open to everyone at the school. There are times when we'll have kind of one harvest of something that we'll do, like the nut.
We just did a lettuce one.
Yeah, we did a salad. We'll do arugula salad. So that's actually the top left picture there. We reached out to a local olive oil farmer. Another thing is we try to source local things as in their truest form. So that is a local olive oil producer that donated a bottle of olive oil. And we just made it an arugula salad to try there. We've done, like we said,
this is jam down here from our plum tree. A mom made it, and she didn't use pectin. I forget what she used to make it, a little more healthier, or But that was pretty cool that we got that much jam.
We had amazing plums this year, and that's all she made. Pepper plum jam. Disclaimer, I don't like jam, so I say it's amazing, but I didn't try it.
So we paired those for kids with goat cheese and
crackers.
And goat cheese and crackers. And then we also paired it with brie. And a lot of these kids had never had goat cheese, and their parents were like, they won't eat that, but they did.
So we went to, Christy and I, presentation is important too for us. We went to the dollar store, if you have like a Dollar Tree or dollar store, and they have these like plastic silver trays. We had our kids help. We did the goat cheese and brie, and we had them walking around at the open house back to school event with past cheese, crackers, and jam from the garden, and people love it. Yeah. It's like such a fun way for people to try things that have been made there. And that was a parent that made those. So fun. The top right picture, our kids harvested potatoes. If you've never done the potato bags, you can get them on Amazon. They're kind of a felt bag. Yeah. 5 for $15,
like an Easter egg hunt.
Get the potato starters. They dumped all the out, and we have 3 baskets of potatoes there. So any ideas of what we should make? That was just recently, but if you have any ideas, we were saying chips, French fries, mashed potatoes seems hard.
Yeah.
But that's why we started reaching out to local restaurants to try to help us. Christy and I
we also donated to the zoo, some kale to the zoo, which is pretty cool.
I guess the monkeys eat it here for us. So any questions about produce or
what we're doing with it?
Harvesting. Our fruit trees, our orchard hasn't really produced yet, so we don't have a lot of feedback on that. We do have a mandarin tree that's pretty ancient and produces some, but we made a salad with that. We included it in
our arugula salad.
Yeah, with mandarins. But the kids love tasting it. I mean, if you make it, they will try it and they love it. We grow snap peas along our arches, and the kids, one kid came today and he's like, where's the snap peas? I mean, they love to go, anything that you can grab and eat is a real treat. Okay, no questions.
Actually, yeah, just to chime in with a question on that front, like, and you were just saying about, kids love to like be able to harvest like a snap pea right there. Like what have you noticed has been, in terms of school garden crop planning, what have been sort of the hits of like, is it of what students find really engaging to be interacting with and like harvesting or planting? Like what, and obviously this is a Northern California climate, your program, of course, but just what have you noticed have been some like, some crops, some plants that have been really big successes and hits with students in terms of like the process of planting and harvesting?
Some standouts.
Definitely the snap peas and tomatoes.
We used to try to really do a bunch of like a lot of different crops. I would say this year we dialed it down to, we planted, I think we had 40 tomatoes this year. We tend to lean towards the smaller, like cherry tomatoes, things that kids can like pop in their mouth and that's why we did snap and snow peas. Peppers, just knowing that it's fun to do like a salsa or something with that.
But our plum tree, that plum tree, kids love that plum tree.
We had, no joke, like 1,000 plums this year, and kids would come by. And so another thing is we want kids to know that the garden is a place for them to touch and explore and get dirty. It's not Christy and Shelley's garden that you can't come in and touch anything. It is like they can come, they have to know that they have to ask a teacher, but like they can try the snap and snow peas, like the tomatoes we will harvest and they get to eat, but they're very respectful now of kind of what that is. But yeah, I mean, it's things that we think are exciting for the kids too, Russell. Like we did a pumpkin arch this year where we grew all the gourds and pumpkins, not necessarily an edible, you can, like with the squashes you can, but more of an exciting thing for them to see like 20 pumpkins dangling and growing from the arch. Cool. There's something magical about walking underneath pumpkins that was really exciting. So trying those things I think is fun.
Thank you. That's awesome. Yeah. When we just actually had a question come in the chat. How do you handle the management of the garden? For example, who waters on weekends? Do you have a drip system?
That's a good question. So that's our top.
when Christy and I meet with people, our first question is, where's your drip irrigation system?
That's the number one thing to establish. Yeah.
If you have a certain budget, use it for a drip irrigation watering system. We met 2 teachers the other day who water their garden every day. We talk about sustainable, that is not sustainable. Yeah. Invest in a working irrigation system if you can. That is for us during the summer. If we had, I mean, for us, it's 105 during the summer. We don't have the capacity to do that. It goes back to managing the garden.
Mm-hmm. We have a drip, and then we'll pop in. During the summertime, one of us would pop in just to be like, "Oh, everything's still good," you know.
And we have parents that help.
Yeah,
we have an idea, and I don't know if anyone does this. If you do, let us know what you think of having families sign up during the summer or breaks. So you have a sign up sheet where, like Russell, your family could sign up for the week of 4th of July. You take care of the garden, you can harvest stuff while you're there, and then it's somebody else's turn. And so kind of a sign up.
I liked that. We haven't implemented that yet, but I think that was a great idea.
If anyone has, we'd be interested to know how it's worked for you, if it's been successful. But yeah, that watering system, I would say invest in that. So not to like haunt you, but just, yeah. Hope that, Andrea, if you have any questions on that,
I don't know the exact measurement, but it is quite large.
So it's 300 feet. When we did the fence, it's 300 feet long. So we have 250 foot garden hoses. And then it's probably, why didn't we include a whole picture on that? Maybe we did at the end. 100 feet deep. So it's kind of a rectangle. I think in our next, if you go to the next slide, Russell, let's click. Okay, this is quick. Go to the next one really quick so I can come back. I want to see if we have a picture. Okay, it's not the whole garden, but these are the beds we have. They're kind of low to the ground, but those are the trellises we were talking about. Those metal, they're called cattle panels if you look them up. Super fun and easy. Like I said, they're like $30 to $35 a piece. Super cost effective. And we have their cucumbers growing up on them. But that's about as big as our garden. We have spaces out there for education, and just also Christy's really big on the social emotional, and we both are, but I learned a lot of it from Christy, the social emotional aspect of kids being out there and being able to have seating areas. If they want to go read or something, like there's that welcoming opportunity to be out there. So there's a question here too. Oh yeah, gathering spaces. So Lynn, we are big on gathering spaces, and we've done some things like we have some like little IKEA chairs out there for kids. You can see here, we're budget friendly. So we got this wooden table in this picture on Facebook Marketplace, which is a great place to find cheap stuff for the garden. But yeah, that's an important part for us.
Yeah. And we have quotes everywhere, like inspirational quotes for kids, because someone might be having a bad day, and we have, quotes like character matters, and, you are loved. We have those kind of quotes everywhere. Shelley is an amazing artist and has created, I see these things, and then I tell Shelley on a Saturday morning, and then by Sunday morning, she already has it painted and made, and it's absolutely amazing.
Your local lumber yard can be your best friend with scrap wood. A lot of times they cut wood the wrong size. So like a Home Depot, Lowe's, or if you have a local, those are great. And just Michael's acrylic paints. And so those spots are important to us. I need to bring up, let me look on my phone as I'm doing this. I'm going to see if I can share some pictures with you guys. Lynn, you talked about traditional ecological knowledge, and I am not familiar with that. So no.
Yeah.
Unless maybe we do, not on purpose.
And chosen foods.
I
guess are you meaning we're gardening to what's in season in our area? Is that what we're?
So I can share for a second. So traditional ecological knowledge is indigenous plants, things that were used by Native Americans in that particular region.
So great question. I wish I could take you guys all on a tour of our garden. I should have had like a walkthrough. We include things like, now that you say that, I would love to include more of that. Mm-hmm. One of our garden beds that is a square that we have here is not all just produce. We talked about produce beds, orchard, cut flower beds. We also have a native plant bed. So that includes for us things that are native to the state of California. And we label all of those. What we've done with those is we've created signs. Can I do a follow-up to everyone, Russell, that has like pictures or like
Oh yeah,
that I can include, because I
yeah,
really
we can
want to show some of these things. We've laminated them, and there's a website that has these metal stakes that you can put them on. But Lynn, we try to label everything and give background on as much as we can. And if you have any examples of
or ideas
those
we should do, yeah,
that would work here, that would be amazing. So like I said, we do more of the native plants. We try to give examples of how they were used or ways you can use them.
We plant some medicinal things that are, that
legal
use.
Medicinal. And we also have a cactus garden. So that includes cactus and succulents. And
the importance of, we talk about we teach the importance of those and why we need, why we need those type of plants.
So if that helps, but yeah, Lynn, if you could pop in like any type of plants, we would love to include those. And we're big on including things that kids aren't familiar with, but they should learn. I mean, one of my biggest goals, I don't want to speak for Christy, is if our kids, like I'll be on a trail, like hiking with my kids, and he'll be like, Mom, that's an Indian paintbrush. And I'm like, yes, like they're like identifying.
Parents do tell us that their kid, when we did the cactus lesson, they had some aloe in the backyard, and their son I think he was in kindergarten, and he was like, oh, we have aloe in our backyard. And the mom messaged us and was like, I just want you to know that he learned like what you could use it for a cut, break it in half. I was like, oh, that was a good pat on the shoulder moment.
Those are amazing. So if you could share that, Lynn. But we do have a native plant and a cactus, and we do a wildflower separate from all of our produce. Hopefully that answers. Can you click one back, Russell, because we can't leave out Jim. This is a full circle Jim moment. So Jim, right picture, white hat. This is him. He's taken on our entire composting program. He has taken on our entire vermicomposting program. We have 3 warm hotels. The middle picture, you can kind of see it to the left of that little boy. Those are our warm hotels. And the picture on the left is a kindergarten class who has collected their own compost to go and take it to the garden. But it is a full working composting garden. And we couldn't do it without Jim.
Yeah.
And he took it upon himself. He takes buckets like Home Depot, Green Acres, like plastic utility buckets. He's labeled them and he puts them out at lunch. And the kids, for us now, hot lunch is free after COVID. And they get like oranges and carrots. And a lot of times the kids won't eat them. And they put them in the buckets. And every day after lunch, he takes 5 kids in his golf cart. He drives them to our garden, and they are in charge of composting that leftover scraps from lunch and feeding the worms. So, I mean, it's the neatest thing.
And Jim has been there for 20 something years. And he said, my job was getting boring and you guys lit a fire, which was really, it's really cool to see. We've included him. We were in Sunset Magazine. We had them take photos. He got to be in there. We were in another magazine. I mean, we've included Jim and everything because everyone needs a Jim. Yes. And like that whole, like you create it, they will come, or you
find your Jim.
Yes. And this is our first year where we actually have the compost because we have this beautiful soil, which if you follow us on Instagram, Between Two Shrubs, and YouTube, you'll see like we actually have this beautiful soil that's now in all of our beds, that is like, I love that.
So everyone needs a Jim. I'm going to also try to include, I was quickly trying to scan my photos of how we label our plants, but I don't want to take away from my time here. But you can click to the next slide, the ending one, Russell. So lessons learned, I think we touched on a few of them, the last one being drip irrigation.
Yeah.
But hopefully those are good takeaways for starting a school garden, or if you already have one, we've given you some tips on how to grow it. But Is there anything else you guys have questions about? Russell, I would love for you to show them where to find the resources from the Edible Schoolyard. And you guys, please don't be shy. Instagram's the best way to message us, just through a message on at Between Two Shrubs. Should we put our phone number on here? Do you want people to text us? Is that invasive? If you need us, message us. But we'd love to help out any way we can.
Thank you. Thanks so much. And yeah, sure. I'd love to, within this theme of resources to get started, Christy, Shelley, and I were saying, we want to share a little bit, just provide a little time for a walkthrough of how to utilize Edible Schoolyard's resources. So I'm going to actually stop sharing screen for a moment and then pull up our website here. And looks like that's going through. Yeah. Yeah. So just to provide a bit of a really quick tour of the resources that are available for free on Edible Schoolyard website. So here we are at the homepage, edibleschoolyard.org, and we encourage folks to like just explore the general website. One good place to start is to go to our work and then curriculum. And this maybe I'll bump up the zoom here.
Yeah, that's
So
good.
yeah, awesome. And yeah, so here this is a page where we have our most recently created curriculum. A lot of it garden centric, connecting sort of understanding organic. What does organic mean? A cooking focused curriculum, a fundamentals of growing plants curriculum, and this is a student engagement workbook for teachers to kind of explore how to boost student engagement in an edible education setting. Um, and then if we go over to resources and then go to the resource library, this is another place to find kind of all lessons from all time. And you can use this sort of menu bar on the left to like drill down into what sort of types of lessons or grade levels you're seeking. Um, and so you can select, for example, a pre-K through two, early elementary ages, and then find a selection of lessons here. And then I'll clear the filters. But in addition to lessons and curriculum, we also have um, admin tools. And so you can look into like fundraising and budgeting, reports and research, or, getting started. So we have a few le resources that are all kind of geared towards like what are our getting started recommendation resources. Um, and then next we have our training page. And so obviously here we are on our virtual training here. But if we scroll down a few other resources, we are hosting a in-person training this summer in July. And so we're going to launch the application for that in middle of February. Um, but in addition to that, of course, we'll have ongoing virtual training, virtual workshops. Um, our most recent virtual workshops of this school year can be viewed here. So it's like see recent workshops. And our virtual training series has covered a lot of topics. So just this year, we have principles of volunteer management, exploring food memories, 5 years like farm field trip planning, and that was from Megan actually, who hosted that one along with Jenny Garcia. And then if we go back, we have even further back, we have like several years back worth of like different virtual training, virtual workshops that we've recorded here covering curriculum, standards alignments, fundraising and budgeting. So for example, last year we did a workshop on grant writing tips and tricks for edible education. And so this is a great resource for fundraising and building, yeah, just building kind of a fundraising system and grant writing processes. So, um, and then here, the last tab, we have essentially our blog page where we share upcoming events or kind of recaps of events that happened. This will share about our upcoming kind of preliminary info about our summer training. And then lastly, towards the bottom here, and I'll include this in our follow-up email, but very much encourage everyone to subscribe to our newsletter. Um, we send one out about every other month or so, and have a lot of resources and events. And we you can follow us on Instagram as well, different social media channels as well. And if you happen to be local or visiting at one point or another, please consider coming out to visit us for a public tour or volunteering with us. We have Tuesday morning volunteering almost every single Tuesday. We have one Saturday a month volunteering throughout the year. And so we'd love to see you in person. So, and in addition to our own resources and opportunities, I wanted to I wanted to share about actually share about different other organizations in the field of edible education that offer outstanding resources and support. One is the School Garden Support Network, School Garden Support Organization Network, and they run events and they run virtual workshops as well. So they're a great resource. Another organization is called Kids Gardening. They, have curriculum and then also have a interactive community, sort of a online platform for connecting with other school garden and edible education professionals. And so they're a great resource as well. And then just to flag a upcoming event, actually just in a little less than a month, even from this workshop, is the Growing School Garden Summit coming up February 19th through 22nd. So lots of different resources to provide and to explore. As Christy and Shelley noted, as much as you can, don't no, there's a lot of support, a lot of resources that have been created to you don't have to reinvent the wheel on so much of this. And there's a lot of community out there to be in support of one another, because one thing that we've found, and I don't know if I don't know to the extent to which this was your experience, Shelley and Christy, but like there can often we hear about folks operating in silos a lot, and it's like people are kind of like feeling isolated and alone. And so I really love that you mentioned at the top about finding partners, finding somebody, because that's a game changer. Um, and so there's be it in your local community or another school community member right there near you, or someone across the country through one of these virtual communities, definitely highly encourage finding those partners to support your work and
Well,
efforts.
and
So,
Russell, and it can be, sometimes it's just asking, sometimes people are afraid to ask or nervous to ask. But I was in the parking lot yesterday of our local nursery, and one lady came up to me and she was, "Oh, you must be like planting something really fun." I actually had some herbs to replenish our garden. And she introduced herself, and it turns out she's the master beekeeper for one of our local universities at UC Davis. And I was like, "Thank you so much for introducing yourself or just saying hi." And sometimes that's all it takes to make a connection or have another, like, just a friend or a partner in that. And I told her, I'm like, we'll have her come out to the school.
Yeah, that sounds great. That making those connections are everything. And, use your resources at your school. Like you might have a parent who does landscape, who can help you with the drip line.
Yeah.
Use what you have. We have this dad who put our greenhouse together, and we used Eagle Scouts and Boy Scouts to build our beds. And we used Girl Scouts to build us a brand new sink situation. So, I mean, use your community. People like to help.
Yeah. We should do like a virtual walkthrough and talk about each of the things, because I would love to show the sink now. And that's the old one. So that was we had like one of those really easy kind of plastic sinks, yeah. But a Girl Scout needed to do her senior project and built us this amazing wooden sink that she used like mesh in, so the kids can put the fruits and veggies on there.
I got that from Edible Schoolyard. I saw that. You guys have one of those.
We stole, and I told Russell, I said, I really want like 8 slides of all the ideas. Someone I put in chat, I would love to include all the pictures, but I included a picture that showed just some of the painted sign that we do. I also included a link. One of our friends, she has a YouTube channel, and she came and did a tour of our garden.
Oh, yeah.
So for people that are actually, you don't have to watch it, but if you're interested in seeing what kind of the whole space looks like, she did a great job of kind of walking through and seeing the different spaces there. So that's in the chat too.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much for posting that.
Yeah. The Christy actually saw this sign. Maybe was it from Edible? Oh, it was the farmer's market that has everything labeled of what's growing in the garden. So
currently, yeah,
in the chat there too. Oh, how do you protect your signs? So trial and error. That goes back to lessons learned. We used to label our plants, like I said, with laminated, and we'd put them on wood and then screw a stake.
Shelley was really into her cricket.
I cricket it. I had the screw, the drill.
I never even knew that word.
Yeah, you learn a lot. And so anyhow, those eroded, and so we use those metal signs. But the wood that I paint on, use outdoor or just acrylic. I go to Michael's and just any of the acrylic, and then what I do is I go to a hardware store and any of that spray outdoor clear, like a polyurethane, protects it. We do some touch-ups due to fading. We are pretty particular. If I see something getting faded, I'm like, oh. But that spray, you could always paint it if you wanted, but spray polyurethane or outdoor polyurethane keeps things pretty good. But we use the Posca. We have a video on our YouTube of painting signs. We use Posca pens, if you're familiar with the paint Posca pens, for small detail, and anything big, it's acrylic from Michael's. Super simple. And then scrap wood from your lumberyard. Go introduce yourselves. Your lumberyard will be your best friend. Ask them whatever they have.
Like a Home Depot too, at their like scraps for wood. That's where we would get wood too.
Any other questions about frugality or where to get stuff? But those work. And we do label in the beds. So we'll label the, I forget who asked about, but our native plant, we give a lot of detail. Anything like tomatoes and stuff are just labeled as tomatoes, peppers.
And what varietal they are.
Yeah.
I'm talking in mine.
Yeah. Any other questions? What's worked, what hasn't? Oh, we appreciate you all being here so much, and we're just honored and so excited for you guys to be creating or continuing to create your own gardens, and would love to see pictures. Can you guys post pictures of your gardens or send them to us? We would love to see what you guys are doing all over. I think someone's from Thailand. Like, how exciting is that? Like, what does a school garden look like in Thailand? Michigan. If you can, send them to us on Instagram message or even include them in the chat, because
when we go on vacations, we look at people's school gardens too to kind of get ideas.
If you're local, we may have stocked your school garden and taken pictures of it and gotten ideas.
Our kids are thrilled.
Yeah. Any? No? Okay. Well, thank you. I mean, I guess there's no other questions, but if you can send us pictures of your garden, we'd love to see what you're doing.
And reach out to us and follow along on our journey.
Yeah. Oh, quick plug. To wrap it all up, I guess, in terms of lessons learned, Christy and I have spent 4 years and we're still learning, we're still growing, we're still changing things. But we realized that we were putting a lot of work and effort into finding these lessons and finding how to do signs and, all these things. And so we realized that we should put it in one place and help other people learn to do the same thing. And if we can help even just one of you, we would love that. And so we just started putting on Instagram and then on YouTube a lot of like how to paint a sign. This is what we're doing for our lessons this month. But feel free to follow along. We try to go to other people's gardens. We try to go to other school gardens and tour and give ideas.
We're going to meet a master rosarian. We're going to do a video with her. I mean, and we actually have a rose garden.
We have 4 roses.
Yes.
So we try to learn and share with you how to keep it going and all those things. So if you're local, maybe we'll come and give a tour of yours too.
Yeah.
So any questions? Is that? I can't see chat.
Yeah, no, well, thank you both so much. Thank you. We're so grateful for this. Thank you so much for sharing about your journey with us.
Oh, thank you, Lynn.
And I think, this has been really, I'm really grateful for this conversation about what was it like to get buy-in? What was it like to build curriculum? What was it like to just like go and like tear out that fence and replace it and build the, fundraise for it. And so thank you so much for sharing the journey and so inspiring to see how thriving it is in just 4 years, what's possible. And thank you to everybody for joining us today. And we hope to see you back at our next virtual workshop. We'll be announcing more soon. As you exit this Zoom, just a heads up, you'll be prompted to respond to a feedback survey. We always love to hear any sort of thoughts you have and what sort of ideas you're seeking for future workshops or training programs so that we can best be responsive to your programs, how we can support you. And just wondering if maybe we can like take a moment of coming off a mute and giving some appreciation to Shelley and Christy if you have the opportunity to. But thank you, Shelley and Christy, so much.
This was an honor. This was an honor for us.
We've tried to emulate the Edible Schoolyard since day one. And if you do have an opportunity to go there or see it in person,
it's incredible.
It's incredible.
And the kitchen and everything, the outlet for these kids, it's amazing.
Yeah. So I love that it's the community of like-minded people. We all have the same focus and goal in mind. And if we can all learn from each other and continue to do the work, I think that's like one of the coolest things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just thank you. And I want to just plug the resources and just shout out to the resources you all have created. Like your Instagram and your YouTube pages are so engaging and there's so much content, so much resources available there. So really, just appreciation to you both for like sharing out so much.
Well, we try to make it fun too.
Yeah, absolutely. No, for sure.
Awesome.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Shelley and Christy. Thank you, everybody, for joining. We'll see you next time. And
thank you.
We'll be in touch.
Oh, thank you all. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Happy planting.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.